Good morning. Today my classmates of Quinto Bachillerato are going to perform for the English subject and inspector calls, based on the original play BJB by teacher Antonio Lopez. That's the story of an inspector that the subject a rich family, cast as suicides and nothing is a seems. We hope you like it. My name is Eva Smith.
Oh, come, I'm trying get a like on of the family. I'm sure he won't object.
Go on, Gerald. Use your object.
I wouldn't dream of it. In fact, I insist upon being one of the family now. I've been trying long enough, haven't I? Haven't I? You know I have.
Of course, she does.
Yes, except for that summer when you never came near me. And I wondered what that happened to you.
And I will tell you, I was awfully bossy and the worst all time that time.
Yes, that's what you say.
No, Sheila, don't tease him. When you are married, you'll realize that men with important work to do sometimes have to spend nearly all their time and energy on the scene. You'll have to get used to that just as I had.
I don't believe I will.
So we're watching the part of you, the very best that life can bring, Gerald and Sheila.
Yes, Gerald. Yes, Sheila, darling. Or congratulations and very best wishes.
Thank you.
Eric,
All the best. She's got a nasty temper sometimes, but she's not bad really. Good old Sheila.
We heard the sharp ring of doorbell. Bradley stops to listen.
Somebody and the front door.
And now, answer it will have another glass of port, Gerald, and will join the ladies. That'll stop me giving you good advice.
Please, sir, an inspector called.
An inspector? What kind of inspector?
A police inspector. He said his name Inspector Gold.
Don't know him, does he want to see me?
Yes, sir. He says it's important.
All right, Edna, so him in here, give you some more light.
Edna bows, then goes out. The inspector enters and Edna goes closing the door. The inspector yells, not being a name. He cried at once attacking Mansivin, Saladin, and Corpus Sultan. He is a man in his 60s, dressing and playing drinking sweet of the burial. He speaks careful, wealthy, and has a disconcerting habit of looking are at the person he under before callously speaking.
Mr. Bearding?
Yes, sit down, Inspector.
Thank you, sir.
Have a glass of port or a little whiskey?
No, thank you, Mr. Bearding. I am on duty.
You're no, that ain't you?
Yes, sir. Only recently transferred.
Well, what can I do for you? Some trouble about a warrant?
No, Mr. Bearding.
Well, what is the then?
I'd like some information, if you don't mind, Mr. Bearding. 2 years ago, a young woman died on the infirmary. She'd been taken there this afternoon because she'd swallowed a load of strong disinfectant, wearing him inside out, of course.
My God.
Yes, she was in great agony. They did everything they could for her in the infirmary, but she died. Suicide, of course.
Yes, horrid business. But I don't understand why you shall come here, Inspector.
I have been round to the room she had, and she left a letter there and a sort of diary. Like a lot of these young women who get into various kind of trouble. She used more than one name, but her original name, her real name, was Eva Smith.
Smith.
Do you remember her, Mr. Berling?
No, I seem to remember hearing that name, Eva Smith, somewhere, but I doesn't come anything to me, and I don't see where I come into this.
She was employed in your works at one time.
Oh, that is it. Well, we have several hundred young women there right now, and they kept changing.
This young woman, Eva Smith, was out of the ordinary. I found a photograph of her in her lodgings. Perhaps you'd remember her from that.
Inspector takes a photograph size out of his pocket and goes to Berlin. Paul, Gerard, and Eric rise to have a look to the photograph. But the inspector exposes himself between them and the photograph. They are suppressed and rated and noted. Berlin stays hard and with reconnaissance and the photograph, which the inspector then replaces is his pocket.
Any particular reason why I shouldn't see this photograph, Inspector?
There might be.
And the same applies to me, I suppose.
Yes.
I can imagine what I could be.
Neither can I.
And I must say, I agree with them, Inspector.
It's the way I like to go to work. One person and one line of inquiry at a time. Otherwise, there is a muddle.
I see essentially really. Oh, just before you came, you've been giving this young man a little good advice. Now about this girl Eva Smith. And remember her quiet hill now. She was a lively, good-looking girl, country bred, I fancy, and she'd been working in one of the or machine shops forever of year. A good worker too. In fact, the foreman here told me he was ready to promote her into what we call a leading operator. He a small group of girls, but after they come back for the holidays to August, they were raised Christus and they suddenly decided to ask for more money. They were a range of 2026, which has neither more nor less that despite generally on the industry, they wanted the rates raised so that they could average about 25 shillings a week. I refused it, of course.
Why?
Did say why?
Yes. Why did you refuse?
Well, Inspector, I don't see this any concern of your how. It's just to run my business is now.
It may be, you know.
I don't like that tone.
I'm sorry, but you asked me a question.
And you asked me a question before that, a quite unnecessary question too.
It's my duty to ask questions.
Well, it's my duty keep labor costs down.
We don't need to tell the inspector about that, do we?
What it was before, I told you, they like a lot of this young woman. She used more than one name. She was still Eva Smith when Mr. Billings said here, for waiting 25 shillings a week instead of 22 and 6. But after that she stopped being Eva Smith. Perhaps she'd had enough of it.
Can't blame her.
Yes, she was out of work for the next 2 months, but her parents we did, so that she'd no home to go back to, and she hadn't been able to save much out of what Berlin and company had paid her, so that after 2 months, with no work, no money coming in, and living in London with no relatives to help to help her, few friends, lonely, half starved, she was feeling desperate.
I should think so. It's a really shame. Yes, I accepted what wasn't happening to her team.
She had what seemed to her a wonderful stroke of luck. She was taken on in a shop, and a good shop too, Millward's.
Millworks? We got there. In the fact, I was there in the afternoon. For your benefit,
Ah,
yes, she was lucky to get taken on Millworks. What? What does this girl look like?
If you will come over here, I'll show you.
He moves nearer a link, purple starling lamp, and the tray is close to him. He follows a photograph. She looks and closely recognizes in the red lane creek. Have a hand stuffed soft and the room's out. The inspector puts the photograph back in his pocket and stares spiritually after her. The other three stare in amazement for a moment.
What's the matter with her?
She recognized her from the photograph, didn't she?
Yes, I'm afraid it did. It was the last real steady job she had when she lost it, for no reason that she could discover. She decided she might as well try another kind of life.
So, I am really responsible?
No, not entirely. A good deal happened to her after that, but you are partly to blame, just as your father is.
But what did Sheila do?
I went to the manager at Wilmer's and I told him that if they don't year after year, I'd never get to place on again and pursued mother to close out one time
And why did you do that?
because I want in various center.
And what had this girl done to make you lose your temper?
When I was looking at myself in the mirror, I gushing up the smink and the assistant I was first with her. I definitely happened to her anyhow.
Advice lesson and situation are clarity as to where and the end to Act 1. The inspector remains at the door for few moments looking at Sheila and Dreher, then comes forward, leaving door open behind him.
I'm not going until I know all that happened. Smith lost her job with Berlin and Company because the strike failed and they were determined not to have another one. At last she found another job, under what name I don't know, in a big shop, and had to live there because you were annoyed with yourself and passed the annoyance on to her. Now she had to try something else. So first she changed her name to Daisy Renton.
what?
I said she changed her name to Daisy Renton.
Do you mind if I give a missile pattern, Sheila?
Sheila merely knows still staring at him, and he goes across to Stanley on the sideboard for a whiskey.
I've been trying to persuade Eric to go to bed, but he won't. No, he said you told him to stay up, did you?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because I shall want to talk to him. Mr. Birling.
I bet he's drinking right now.
Sheila, don't know state that about your brother.
Why? He is always drinking into Gerald.
Not sure. I don't know him very well.
At the end of January last year, the Secret Smith had to leave Millwards because Miss Beverly completed them to the church here, and that she stopped being a Smith, looking for a job, and became Daisy Renton, with other ideas. Mr. Croft, when did you first get to know her?
An exclamation of super from Berlin from and Mr. Berlin.
Where did you get the idea? That I know.
As soon as I mentioned the name Daisy Renton, it was obvious you'd known her. You gave yourself away at once.
Of course, he did.
And anyhow, I knew already. When and where did you first meet her?
Alright, you must have it. I met his fears sometime in March last year. This tells Lord a palace. I was trying to see how he broken. Yes, I asked him questions about himself. She told me how there was a disarrangement, that she told the parents that he came originally from somewhere outside Rome. She also told me she had a job on the works here and had to leave after the strike. She said something about the shop too. Who wouldn't say which he was and began deliberate vague about what happened.
And then you decided to keep her as your mistress?
What?
Of course, mother. It was obvious from the start. Go on, Gerald, don't meet mother.
I discovered, not that night but the two nights later, when we meet again. No accidentally this time of course, that in fact she hadn't a penny and was going to be turned out the miserable back room she had. It happened that a friend of mine, Charlie Brunswick, had one of Canada for 6 months, and had let me have the pay of a nice little set of rooms he had for her. I did like the idea for the girl going back to the palace bar. I didn't ask for anything in return.
I see. But she became your mistress?
Yes, I suppose I wasn't able to. She was young and pretty and white hair, and intensely grateful, and became at once the most important person in her life. Do you understand?
Yes. She was a woman. She was lonely. Were you in love with her?
Just what I was going to ask me.
Turns away, we hear the front door slam again. He goes out quickly. Inspector tools to Mr. Building. Mr. Building.
Miss Berlin, you're a member, a prominent member of the Berlin Women's Charity Organization, aren't you?
Go on, mother. You mix as well admit it. Yes, she did why?
It's an organization to which women in distress can appeal for help in various forms. Isn't that so?
Yes, we have done a great deal of also working, helping, deserving causes.
Is there any reason why my wife should answer a question from you, Inspector?
Yes, a very good reason. You will remember that Mr. Croft told us, quite cheerfully, I believe, that he hadn't spoken to Orsino Smith since last September, but Miss Beerling spoke to and saw her only 2 weeks ago.
Mother?
Is this true?
Yes, it's true.
She appealed to your organization for help,
Yes.
not as Eva Smith.
No, no, as Daisy written,
As what then?
whereas she called herself Mr. Birling.
Mother, she's just died horrible. I did, don't forget.
I'm very sorry, but I think she had only herself to blame.
Why did she want help?
You know very well why she wanted help.
No, I don't. I know why she needed help, but as I wasn't there, I don't know what she asked from the committee.
I don't think we need discuss of it.
You have no hope of not discussing it, Miss Verlin. I think you did something terribly wrong, and that you are going to spend the rest of your life regretting it. I wish you'd been with me tonight in the infirmary. You'd have seen.
No, no, please. Not that again. I think you made it already.
Then the next time you imagine it, you remember that this girl was going to have a shield.
Oh no! Horrible, horrible. How God should have it wanting to kiss herself?
Because she'd been turned out and turned down too many times. This was the end.
Mother, you must have been Kino.
It was because she was going to have a shield that she went for assistance to your mother's committee.
Look, here, this wasn't Gerald Croft.
No, no, nothing to do with him.
Thank goodness for that. So I don't know why I shall Colonel.
And you have nothing for her to tell me, eh?
Told you what I told her, go and look for the father of the child. Is he's responsible.
I warned you, you are making it worse for yourself. What reason did she give for not taking any more money?
Her story was that he said sometime on night when he was drunk that gave her the idiot that it wasn't his money.
Where had he got it from then?
He'd stolen it.
So he'd come to you for assistance because she didn't want to take stolen money.
That the story she finally told after I'd refused to believe her original story that she was a married woman who being answered by her husband. I didn't see any reason to believe that one story should be any truer than the other. Therefore, you are quite wrong to suppose I shall regret what I did.
But if her story was true, if this boy had been giving her stolen money, then she came to you for help because she wanted to keep this youngster out of any more trouble. Isn't that so?
Possible, but it sounded ridiculous to me, so I was perfectly just fine and asking my contact now to allow her claim for assistance.
Who is to blame then?
I blamed the young man who was the father of the child she was going to having if, as she said, he didn't belong to her class, and with some drunken Jew Hitler thinks that all the more reason why shouldn't escape. He should be made an example of the girls that is to the anybody then is to him.
If her story is true, that he was stealing money.
There's not point and assuming that
But suppose we do, what then?
the head responsible because the girl would have come to us and haven't been refused assistance if it had been for him.
Sheila Bergin Krelling. Mr. Blenning turns to the inspector.
And if you take some step to find this young man and to make sure that he's compelled to confess in public, he's responsible instead of staging her asking kid unnecessary questions that you really would be doing your duty.
Don't worry, Miss Verlin. I shall do my duty.
I'm glad to hear it.
Not yet. I'm waiting
Waiting for what?
to do my duty.
No, mother. Don't you see?
But really, it's ridiculous.
She stops and staring a flaming place her husband.
Look, Inspector, you are not trying to tell you that my boy is mixed up in this.
If he is, then we know what to do, don't we? Miss Berlin has just told us.
My God, luck here?
I don't believe it. I won't believe it.
Mother, I believe you can get to your stuff.
Victor falls up and we hear the phone door. The way looking towards door. Eric Edders looking extremely pale and distraught. He meets the Ingrid stairs.
You know, don't you?
Yes, we know.
Eric, I can't believe it. There must be some mistake. You don't know what we were saying.
It's a good job her doesn't, isn't it?
Why?
Because mother being bluntly blaming everything on the young money will got its girl or terrible and saying he shouldn't especially and shall be an example.
That's no, Sheila.
Just a minute, Mr. Berlin. There'll be a plenty of time when I've gone for you all to adjust your family relationships. But now I must hear what your son has to tell me. And I will be obligated if you let us get on without any further interruptions. Now then?
Oh, I have a drink first.
Eric goes for a whiskey. He calls my name of calling, they striking and they drink. Shows in the family with the weak high drinking. The others what I think nearly.
I understand a lot of things now. I didn't understand before.
Don't start on that. I want to get on. When did you first meet this girl?
One light last November
Where did you meet her?
in the Palace Bar, I had been there. And also with two or three chaps. I was a bit squiffy.
What happened then?
He began talking to her and stood here a few drinks. I was rather far gone by the time we had to go.
You went with her to hear Loggins that night?
Yes, I insisted. It seems I'm not very clear about it, but afterwards she told me she didn't want me to go in about that. Well, I was in that state when a chap is from nasty and threatening to make a row.
So she let you in?
Yes, and that's when it happened, and I didn't even remember. That's the hellish thing. Oh my god, how stupid that is.
He goes to open the door while Sheila takes his mother out. Then he closes in and comes in.
Oh, she didn't want me to marry her, said I didn't love her and altered in a way. She treated me as if I were a kid, so I was nearly as old as she was.
So what did you propose to do?
Will she had a job and didn't feel like trying again for one, and she had no money left, so insisted on giving her enough money to keep her going until she refused to take anymore.
How much did you give her altogether?
I suppose about £50 all told.
50 pounds. On top of drinking and going around the town. Where did you get 50 pounds from?
Series those not relative.
That is my question too.
I got it from the office.
My office?
Yes,
You mean you stole the money?
not really.
What do you mean, not really?
Eric does the relative because now Mr. Building and Sheila comes back.
But just remember this, one of Smith has gone, but there are millions and millions and millions of Eva Smith and young Smiths still left with us, with their life, their hopes and fears, their suffering and chains of happiness, all intertwined with our life and what we think and say and do. It was pleasure. I wanted what I got. Good night.
I hope you don't mind my coming back.
No, of course, no, Gerald.
I had a special reason for coming. When did that inspector go?
Yeah, 5 minutes ago, he put all through it.
They look eagerly and Gerard.
You know, something, what is it?
That man wasn't a police officer.
What?
Are you certain?
I'm almost certain that was I came back to tell you.
Good lad. You asked about him, eh?
Yes, I met a police sergeant and down the road. I asked him about Inspector Gould and described the job carefully to him. His word, there wasn't an Inspector Gould for anybody like him on the force.
A jingle, a fake?
Didn't I told you, didn't I said I couldn't imagine a real police inspector talking like that to us?
Well, you were right. There isn't any such inspector. We've been had.
I'm going to make certain of this.
What are you going to do?
Bring up the chief constable, Colonel Roberts.
Hold what you said there.
Of course, Burnley 8752. I was going to do this anyway. I have had my suspicions all along. Colonel Roberts, please, my Arthur Berlin here. Oh, Roberts, Berlin here. Sorry to ring you up so late, but can you tell me if an Inspector Gold has joined your staff lately? Yes, Gold. Goole. A Newman? Tall, clean shaven? I see. Yes, well, that still is it. No, just a little argument we were having here. Good night. There is no Inspector Gold on the police. That man definitively wasn't a police inspector at Gerald Shea. We have been had.
I felt it all the time. He never talked like one, ever, never even looked.
This make a difference. I know, in fact, it makes that difference.
Of course.
I suppose we real nice people know.
If you have nothing more sensible than that to say, Sheila, you'd better keep quiet.
He's right now.
He wasn't an inspector.
Well, Inspector is all right. I don't want to start the dotting and spreading now. Between use withdraw tag that committed suicide.
With why? Who says so? Because I say it. There's no more real evidence. We did hand here was that chap was a police inspector.
Of course, there is.
No, there isn't. Look at it. A man comes here pretending to be a police officer. It's a hoax of some kind. No, what does he do? Very artfully, working on bits of information is picked up here and there. He blows us into confessing that we will be mixed up in a weird, life in a one way of answer.
And so we have.
How do you know it's the same girl?
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see how that will work. No, no, it wouldn't.
Alright, you all admitted something to do with a girl, but now, do you know is the she same girl?
She looks round, jiggling, and the same. As Sally close, she holds. He turns to Girling after pause.
No proof is the was same photograph, and therefore no proof is a was the same girl. Now tell me, I never was a photograph. Remember, he called me out by suddenly announcing that this girl changed her name to Daisy Renton. I got myself a waited because I don't know a Daisy Renton.
And there wasn't the slightest proof that Daisy Renton was really Eva Smith. We have only his word for it, and with his word of it that he was a police inspector, and we now know he was lying, so he could have been lying all the time.
But feeling so worried when he suddenly turned on me with those questions I asked were more or less as he wanted me to answer.
But mother, don't forget that he showed you photograph of the girl before that, and you obviously reconcile it.
Then, don't you see? There's still no proof it was really the same girl. He might have showed you the photograph of a naked girl for upload to committed. And how do we know she was really Eva Smith or Daisy Renton?
Gerald's dead right. He could have used a different photograph each time, and with the known, the wizard, we may all have recognized different girls.
Did he ask you identify a photograph, Eric?
No, he didn't need a photograph. By the time he had go wrong to me. But obviously, I must have been there new going to see mother. I don't take it on.
There you are, you see, just repeating in shakes you a bit, and that's what he had to do. Shake yours at once. And start questioning yours until we didn't know where I were. Oh, let's admit that he had the loud of us all right.
He called loud his head off. I knew it really was all a hoax.
I commented, it is no police inquiry, no. One girl that all this happening to, no scandal.
And no suicide?
We consider that at once.
Oh,
The ringing up of the infirmary. Either there's a dead girl, there isn't.
It will look a bit queer when it raining this time of night.
I don't mind doing it.
And I, if there isn't,
Anyway, we'll see. Probably 8986. Isn't that the infirmary? This is Mr. Gerard Croft of Croft Limited. Yes, we're right there worried about one of the employees. Have you had the bro in the afternoon who committed suicide by drinking disinfectant or any like suicide? Yes, I'll wait.
As he waits, the others show the navy station building which he brought. Sheila sabers, Eric clasp and unclaps in hand.
Yes, you are certain of that? I see. Well, thank you very much. Good night. No, beer has died in its there today. Nobody's been broke in after drinking disinfectant. They haven't had a suicide for months.
There you are, proof positive. The whole story uses a lot of moonshine, nothing but an elevator shell. Nobody likes to be shot as badly as that, but for all that, Gerald have a drink.
I want to hold two of these. I write up me when you talk.
Nonsense. You'll have a good loud over it yet. Look, you'd better ask Gerald for the ring you wave back to him, and you. Then you'll feel a better.
You're repeating everything you said to us before?
I'm not.
No, but taste other air.
Well, isn't it? We have been had that out.
So neither really happening, so there's nothing be sorry for nothing to learn. We can all go very just as we did.
well, why shouldn't we?
I told you, where that Inspector was, it was a book of joke. Joking in Juventus learn something and now you said that you're ready to go into some old way.
You are not a.
No, because I remember that we had seen how looked and what he made me feel. From blood and caution and repeatings the way I talk, and I can listen to more of it.
And Eric with Shayla is freezing me too.
Well, go to bed then, and don't stand there being hysterical.
They're over there in the morning, they'll be as mussed as we are.
Everything alright now, Sheila. What about this ring?
No, no, yet. I don't so I most think.
No, look at the pair of them. The famous younger generation who now eat out, and they can't even take a joke.
The telephone rings sharply. The moment complete silence. Berlin goes to answer it.
Sir, the phone is ringing. They want to talk with you.
Not, no, Edna.
They say it's important.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Brilling speaking. What? Here.
But hopefully the other person and room off. We put straight telephone down slowly and looked in a panic stricken fashion and the others.
That was the police. A girl has just did on her way to infirmary after swallowing some disinfectant, and a police inspector is on his way here to ask some questions.
As they stay cooling and Dumbolfen, the curtain falls. In a play.